In the cold halls of an English castle, a queen prepares to die. Her crime? Blood, religion, power, and perhaps simply being who she was. Mary Stuart was born in 1542, just a few days before her father, James V of Scotland, died. At just 6 days old, she became queen. Too young to rule, she was sent away to France, promised to the future king. Raised in luxury, Mary was educated, graceful, and Catholic, a faith that would both define her reign and seal her fate. When she returned to Scotland as a young woman, she was beautiful, confident, and full of promise. The Scottish people greeted her with hope. But Mary was not just Queen of Scots. She also had a claim to the throne of England, a dangerous claim, one that made Queen Elizabeth I deeply uneasy. Mary married her cousin Lord Darnley, a political move meant to strengthen her claim. But Darnley was arrogant, cruel, and unstable. He grew jealous of Mary's advisor, David Rizzio. In a moment of brutal violence, Darnley and his men stabbed Rizzio more than 50 times in front of the pregnant queen. Mary was devastated. The public was horrified. Soon after, Darnley himself was found dead, strangled after an explosion destroyed the house he was staying in. Suspicion turned toward James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell. Only 3 months later, Mary married Bothwell. Was it love? Was it force? Or was it a reckless decision made in desperation? The Scottish nobles were outraged. The people began to turn on her, and soon she was forced to abdicate the throne in favour of her infant son. Mary fled to England, hoping her cousin Elizabeth would protect her. She was wrong. Elizabeth saw her not as family, but as a threat, a Catholic rival with a stronger claim in the eyes of many. Instead of shelter, Mary found prison, and for 19 years, she remained a captive in a series of castles. She wrote letters, she made secret plans, she dreamed of freedom, and sometimes of reclaiming a crown. But her enemies were watching. In 1586, a secret letter changed everything. A young nobleman named Anthony Babington had written to Mary. In the letter, he outlined a plan to assassinate Queen Elizabeth, free Mary, and place her on the throne. Mary replied. She seemed to approve of the plan. What she didn't know was that Elizabeth's spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, had intercepted everything. Mary had walked straight into a trap. Now, Elizabeth had what she needed: proof of treason. Mary was brought before a court of nobles. They read her letters aloud. They accused her of treason, of conspiracy, of trying to murder a queen. Mary denied it all. She reminded them she was a queen too, a sovereign. How could one queen judge another? But it didn't matter. The verdict was already written. On October 25th, 1586, Mary, Queen of Scots, was sentenced to death. The cold wind blew through the stone walls of Fotheringhay Castle. Mary rose early. She dressed carefully in a dark gown with a crimson-red petticoat underneath, the colour of Catholic martyrdom. She prayed with her servants. She wrote a final letter to her brother-in-law, the King of France. At 8 a.m, the guards came for her. She walked calmly to the great hall where the scaffold stood. The room was cold, filled with silent witnesses, nobles, guards, and executioners. A wooden block waited. So did the axe. Mary addressed the room. She forgave her enemies. She knelt before the block, placed her head upon it, and whispered her final words. "Into thy hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit." The first swing missed the mark. It hit the back of her head. She didn't scream. The second blow severed her neck, but not completely. A third swing was needed. The executioner picked up her head and shouted, God save the Queen! But her hair was a wig. Her head fell to the ground, shocking all who watched. Even in death, Mary had the final moment of drama. Mary's death shocked Europe. To Catholics, she became a martyr. To Protestants, a traitor silenced. Queen Elizabeth never fully recovered from ordering her cousin's death. Some say she wept. Others say she grew harder, colder. Years later, Elizabeth would die childless. And who would take the throne? Mary's son, James VI of Scotland, now James I of England. In the end, Mary won, but at a terrible price. She died with dignity, she died with pride, but above all, she died betrayed by her enemies, by her country, and perhaps by history itself. Would you have spared her? Or was her crown always destined to bleed?